This could be the best Microbrand diver of the year. When I reviewed Monro's GMT piece, I promised you their follow-up diver would be here soon, and I have it on wrist. Now it's here, it's time for you to find out just how good this watch is and what ridiculous price you can get it for. Hi guys, my name is Jason and I am your watch guy today. I am back with our friends at Monro. They've loaned me 2 of their ocean adventure pieces to show you just before the Kickstarter release. It'll start at just £245 for the steel version and $315 for the bronze. Honestly, for this quality, these are ridiculously priced. The Kickstarter and the Monro website are linked in the description. Make sure you check them out. Let's get into it. I was lucky enough to have one of these in hand as a prototype, and genuinely, I could not wait for the actual release. I told Matt on the day that this is going to be an absolute killer, and now it's time for me to show you just why. They're available in both steel and bronze with a few different aspects to them. The bronze piece for me is very ocean inspired. As we know, the casing will age over time and develop a really beautiful patina. If you look at mine, you can see that it's already started to oxidize and looks beautifully aged. It is a pretty chunky casing, but it definitely has some lovely design aspects to it. From the chamfered edges on the side to the matched numerals around the bezel. And who can forget that sunken crown in the crown guards? Personally, I would actually opt for the steel version. A lot of that comes down to taste, but for me, the beautiful chamfered edge, the red ring under the bezel, and that matching up to the second hand, there's just some tonal design notes that I absolutely adore about it. The 120 click unidirectional bezel has a very premium fit to it, and the click is very tool-like. As well as all of that, it has a forward-facing nail to the bezel, and that matches into the crown grip. Also, I love this aspect on their pieces. The crown is screw down and it is signed with the Ocean Adventure logo. And as mentioned, it's almost completely sunken into those crown guards. The screw down caseback holds the Monro motto, "Where will time take you?" That is also featured on the back of their rubber NATO bands on the bronze piece. As you can also see, it is a limited numbered piece. It packs a 200 meter water resistance rating, exactly the ideal level that we'd expect from a dive piece. The bezel is a ceramic insert. It has fantastic legible numerals around it, as well as its own minute track, which I think really does make the dial look a little bit smaller, and it does give a lovely effect once on wrist. In terms of design, they've had no afterthoughts with this piece. The bezel sits at a slight inward angle and really does meet that domed sapphire with a fantastic effect. It's obviously time for me to talk about those dimensions. It is 40.8 millimeters in diameter, including caseback and dome sapphire. It is 15.3 millimeters thick. Lug to lug is 47.7 millimeters, and these lugs are the universal 20 millimeters. Now, both of these pieces have the blue dial variant. There are other colors available, and some of them look absolutely fantastic. Personally though, I really do like this blue. The fume effect to the colour of the dial and a very subtle texture makes for an almost matte finish, and it definitely brings up the premium effect to the dial. Again, there's nothing that they haven't thought through here, and they've executed this watch perfectly. The indices are applied to the dial. We have dots and an elongated curved indice. Now, they taper and come to a point, and that really does bring you into the center of the dial and draws your eyes in. A very simple minute track is printed to the outer edge of the dial. The minute hand and the second hand fit perfectly to that minute track, which adds so much to the legibility. I really love the handset that Monro use. The modernized Breguet look is just sublime. The skeletonized circle fits perfectly to the circle aspect of the hour hand, as does that second hand. They all fit precisely in with each other, and I love that level of detail that they've put into it. The high polish to the hands fits the outer edge of the indices perfectly also. The logo is also printed to the 12 o'clock. I am still a massive fan of this pin drop logo. Below the handset, we have 4 lines of text. Now it's time for me to show you this absolutely nuclear lume signature. It's one of those that glows in the day, so you can just imagine how great this is going to be once we get these lights out. This one really doesn't need any light to produce that gorgeous lume signature. One really nice touch that they've applied here is the blue lume matching up to the minute hand. That is
definitely a dive feature. It's something that you see in PADI certified watches from Seiko, as well as some iconic watches like the Seamaster. This one is absolutely nuclear. I love that they've loomed the bezel so well. The minute counters on the bezel are super legible too and very useful. Overall, I think I've got to give this one a 9 out of 10. Yes, they're not doing anything extra spectacular, but it's very, very close to being one of my favourite loom signatures. Well done to Monro for this one.
The bronze variant comes with an option of 2 NATO bands, and the steel variant comes with that bracelet. I am a massive fan of this bracelet. It is very comfortable and it fits beautifully to wrist. I'm still wearing it now and I'm doing the bloody review. Now, in my last video featuring Monro, I did go over the band options that they have in a bigger detail, so if you want to see that, check the video. In the bronze version, they've updated it and matched the buckle and keepers to that bronze casing. A very nice touch from them. As I said, I love this bracelet. It brings down the wearability of this watch, which when you consider it's quite a thick piece, that is something that you definitely want to have. It has an amazing finish to it and it flows with that chamfered edge along the casing, bringing a chamfered edge to the bracelet in a high polished finish. The rest of the bracelet is brushed and it is a fantastic level of finish to it. When you consider the price of this watch, the last thing you would expect is for them to incorporate a ratcheting clasp. It makes for an almost perfect fit, and it's definitely a premium feature that you don't often see at this type of price point. The clasp is being kept very simple. The Monro logo is etched into it. That chamfer continues along the edges and it's a double pusher. Obviously it's time to get into the wrist shot and show you how these two fit on my 6 1/4 inch wrist. So first off, we have the bronze option from Monro. This watch is fantastic, and honestly, the patinaing effect that you can already see starting to happen throughout the watch really does give it that vintage and dive inspired look for me. Now this one will be thicker due to the NATO strap of it. They have made a very smart choice and given you 2 lug hole choices to get different bands through easier, to get a different style of fit. This one fits pretty perfectly for me, and to be fair, it hasn't given me any issues when it comes to how wearable it is. I do know that a lot of people with smaller wrists like myself aren't big fans of thicker watches, but for me, it's a non-issue. This is the steel version on wrist. As I say, this is my favourite variant. It brings down the thickness of the watch when it's on a bracelet. I feel like it's a little bit more comfortable. However, if you really do want that bronze look, then the bronze is the only way to go for you. I love the colour matching that they've done here. I love the chamfered edges. I just love this watch. I love the brand. I'm pretty much obsessed. I'll be honest, I absolutely hate this next section. And that's because I love these watches. I love the brands. I'm just infatuated by them. They really do stand as a British watchmaker that offer fantastic value and an excellent vision for design. I do, however, have to offer a very balanced opinion and give you the downsides of the piece, and honestly, I don't think Monro would have it any other way. Now, if I'm in the general consumer's mind, the first thing I am thinking is that this is a pretty thick watch. Over 15 millimeters. Take into account the sapphire crystal, the dome to that sapphire crystal really does add to that. However, it is a very wearable piece. What I will say is I do prefer the bracelet option just to bring down the thickness slightly for me. Another note, I am slightly disappointed that they have used the NH35 variant of the movement without a date window. I just feel like it was one extra step that they could have taken to really solidify this piece. Now, I won't claim to know the cost difference when you're producing so many watches to step to a different variant of movement that isn't the go-to market piece. But what I will say is it would have been nice to have the no date variant in here and just give me one less thing to complain about. Overall, I am absolutely obsessed with this brand at the moment. I'll be meeting the guys again at the Watch It Watch Fair later in the month, and I can't wait to see what they've got in their heads for the next piece. They're a real genuine brand that brings so much fantastic design philosophy to the market, and they're doing it at a fantastic value to the consumer and their market. It's amazing to see that this is where British watchmaking is going, and honestly, I'm just honoured to be along for the ride. Thanks for watching today, guys. Monro are linked in the description. That is their website, that is their Kickstarter. Sign up for the notifications so you can get on the earliest bird price and get a fantastic deal on these pieces. British watchmaking is bright, and Monro are definitely adding to that. Remember to subscribe to the channel so I can keep bringing you reviews on fantastic watches that I am being sent in, and I will see you in the next one.